waiting around for too much longer, thankfully, because we do look like we've got this first game underway, which is great to see. Looks like we might have missed the pistol, but that's okay. Better to be in late than in never. It's going to be 5POWER up against D13. Now, if you don't know who D13 is, I would not be particularly surprised, obviously, because they're a little bit of an unknown quantity. They are a team from Mongolia, at the moment potentially the best team from Mongolia, now given the fact that they did win the qualifiers. But, well, you've noticed something already, which is obviously Schwaderpai getting the ace in the pistol.
A cheeky ace to start things out. That's not a bad way to start, if ever there was. And World's going to be able to trade straight back. Tries to swing wide in towards apartments. Not going to find anything, so he backs away for now. Rate just holding up. And a nice slow start. I mean, trade for trade, it's not looking too bad for either side right now. But 5POWER, obviously, I mean, you don't expect an ace in the first round, but another kill coming in from World. So that CZ's doing damage right now, but the trade eventually from Cabal. They look to pinch on that A side. Yeah,
definitely an interesting matchup, particularly given the fact that 5POWER do have a couple of Mongolian players for themselves. So there is a bit of a storyline in there for both of these two rosters. But at the moment, D13 doing a bit of work. Temka, he did at one point, I think, play actually with Dobu and with Cabal for a little bit. So there's a little bit, again, another storyline for us here. But 5POWER starting to stabilize in this round. The AK is going to work, which is what you come to expect. Obviously, in these kinds of rounds, the pistol and armor, they can sort of get on top of sometimes the UMPs or the other SMGs. But once those AKs get into the mix, that's where things really need to get shut down. And it looks like that's going to be the case. But right here, with a chance at a 2v1 clutch to bring a round back for D13.
There's still a chance. Any chance is possible, but it is going to be... Yeah. Line being held. No way. Rate looks to come on in, try and find the player, isolate him on site. It's not going to happen, but the CZ's putting in absolute work at that point. I mean, you're playing around apartments. You're going to get bitten there, especially on a pistol round like that. You've got two CZ's just roaming around, and close quarters don't really favour you, even with the MAC-10 that close. So, yeah, fair enough.
Just to touch on the map as well, of course, you can see it is Inferno. For D13, we're not so sure exactly what their map pool is looking like at the moment, but they did play Inferno and they did play Nuke in the qualifiers for this event, and they were able to get the 2-0 over their counterparts in Mongolia, who were called 2990. That was the name of the team. Again, I don't know who those guys are, but at least there's a little bit to go off when it does come to the map pool here. Obviously, just seeing a fairly straightforward anti-eco from 5POWER, but obviously we know that 5POWER map pool a little bit better. They're quite comfortable on Inferno. I think that we would have seen D13 maybe sort of sneak a win was if there was going to be a bit of a cheeky map coming in here or something that maybe 5POWER didn't expect or didn't want to play on. But I think Inferno is going to be quite a comfortable stomping ground for 5POWER here.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw like a curveball, like an overpass or a nuke, not really a train per se, but Inferno, you would have to feel as though 5POWER should just be feeling comfortable on this, and already up against a team which... I mean, straight off the bat, the fact that we're looking at the team and we don't really know the names as well as the 5POWER team, it kind of just, it paints the picture already that it's going to be a tough task, a tall order for the Devil, but, I mean, well, D13, it'll still, I mean, look, they've still got a chance, right? You can't just count them out straight away, and at least they've found a couple of kills in both rounds, bar that last one. So
yeah, I mean, it's the best of one, so anything can happen in this. Obviously, it's been a decent start for 5POWER, but you can't draw too many conclusions from it. Got to see how those gun rounds do go, and so far starting off quite nicely. Shinobi able to get a couple of kills before being traded out there by Schwaderpai. Now, it is a bit of a bonus round for 5POWER. They did save a couple of MAC-10s through, so if they're able to break open this bomb site and they're able to get that bomb down and win the round, it's going to be a massive, massive bonus for them. We do see another player drop, and it is not looking good for D13. This time, smoke to go down there from Schwaderpai, which will allow the bomb plant to go down a little bit. And Rate has
from coming on site, forcing them out into the open. So now only one player remains. Rate has, again, quite the order to partake in. Going to be coming in from Library. Still two to find, one on site and one towards Pit. He finds the Pit player really nicely. Now he's just got will clothesline him coming around the corner, and that's just 5POWER. I mean, Schwaderpai picks up 3 frags entering onto that site there.
Yeah, great stuff from 5POWER, and it looks like Schwaderpai's having a great day so far. 10-0 after 4 rounds. You can't complain about that, and that kind of firepower is something that we've always associated with a team like 5POWER. We've even made 5POWER, firepower, you know what I mean? Yep. But it's definitely how we've always characterized this 5POWER roster. A very, very firepower heavy roster. And they are a team that has always been characteristically able to do quite a bit of work in that department. But then things kind of start to fall by the wayside sometimes when the going gets tough, when the firepower's not working. What do they fall back on? Do they have the communication? That's sometimes where the issues start to creep in. But against a team like D13, if the firepower is going to be working for 5POWER here, I don't foresee too many issues. No,
definitely. I mean, touching on that, you know, the kind of communication error, it's kind of like Tyloo, right? Like, they've got a lot of firepower. Obviously, Tyloo are quite well structured when they play, but 5POWER, it's similar to them. They do have small communication errors, of course, 2 players being from Mongolia and 3 players being from China. It's always going to be a little bit more difficult. But now they're going to execute on towards this B bomb site, making short work of rate. And this should just be pretty much the janitor round, just mopping up these kills easy as can be. But they make it a little bit hard. They do find themselves 1 kill. Now just 1 player sitting in the smoke, being a little bit cheeky. Might be able to stop the bomb at this point, but yeah, there's not too much.
Covered off well. Good stuff from 5POWER. You can see they're sort of working as a team. There's not really too many issues from what we can see so far. Like, admittedly, it has been quite easy for them so far. They've really only had to face up against the 1 gun round. But at least what we're seeing is good early signs for 5POWER. And this is, of course, everyone's first match at Extremesland. And to see 5POWER starting off pretty well is a good sign. Losing a couple of guns toward the end there, not too big of a deal. They are on the T side. They got the bomb down. They got the round win. They've got heaps of cash anyway. It could play a part later on down the track if D13 start to win some rounds. But for now, 5POWER are okay with getting through the round with 2 guns alive. This one, though, a little bit more precarious. Of course, the double AWP coming out from D13. So this is where you want to see D13 start to get a bit of a comeback into this one. If it doesn't happen now, obviously it's going to take another couple of saves, but this is where the spiral will start to come into effect. If 5POWER win here, D13 have got to do some serious thinking. Yeah, they definitely can't afford to drop the first kill like that. World's already fallen down. That's the AWP out into the hands of 5POWER, which, I mean, you're not really going to pick that up if you're 5POWER right now. The AKs are working an absolute treat for you, and that's going to be another kill, just rolling 5POWER now on their way down. It's not looking too easy for D13 now. Just trying to bait out a couple of shots there, but does pull back in towards the corner. And Cabal, oh wow, okay, Cabal, what? Don't know what to say about that one, but works out for 5POWER. Trade back from D13, but 4v2. At this point, you really can't be too concerned. Samira, though, coming up quite big. And that is pretty important, actually, for D13, as it does bring things felt from 5POWER. They're a little bit too eager to get through that smoke and try and take the frag on the B player, but it's stabilized now with Cabal finding the kill. All in all, a brief moment of hope for D13, but now into a 2v1 again. You can't expect to win. It's possible, but you can't expect to win, and if it's going to continue like this, 5POWER are going to continue to take rounds. It's that avalanche, right? Like, it's kind of like, if it just continues the way it's going, we might only see the kind of 2-13 half, the 3-12 half at the max at this point. 5POWER are just rolling D13. The only chance that they get there is Tamir finding himself a 3K, and 2 of those kills, I mean, they're just aggressive kills, they
right?
Were sloppy
like like
from 5POWER, or sloppy deaths, really, I should say, from 5POWER. Now, obviously, looking at that setup for D13, they had the double AWP, which meant that they did sacrifice a bit of utility, and if you're going to go for the double AWP, what you need to be doing is you need to be taking control of Banana, you need to be setting that AWP up solo, you also need to be winning the aim battle in mid. If you're dropping the aim battle with a double AWP, there's no point having the double AWP. You might as well go back to the rifle, get the extra utility, be able to take some more control of Banana, because that's one thing that I've noticed for D13 already. We're only 6 rounds in. We've only seen 2 gun rounds, but they're not taking control of the map at all. They're not taking anything in Banana. They're not throwing utility in Banana. 5POWER's been allowed to just walk up there every single round. That's such a key part of Inferno that if you can't control that area of the map, T-side is going to be having a ball. I mean, the only sort of aggression we've seen from D13 was that early apartments push on that second round with CZs. Maybe we might say something again here with the CZs being back out as well. Like you're saying, they do start to take a little bit of control of Banana, but immediately they back away. They've already sent the player back towards A, so the early grenades are just there basically to try and slow 5POWER down, rather, and just try and make them second guess themselves at this point. Still, they're holding strong. They're not... Rate, however, has been caught out. Not expecting so much out of this round from D13 when it comes to that Banana control. Obviously, they can throw a few utilities in there, but they don't have enough to stand up against 5POWER. Obviously, they throw it in, they run away. 5POWER has still got quite a bit left available to them, so this definitely should be 5POWER's round. What I'm looking for is when we do actually get to those gun rounds, when D13 actually has quite a bit of utility, you want to see those smokes deep into Banana. You want to see the Molotovs, you want to see the grenades that are really putting pressure on 5POWER. Because at the moment, it really doesn't seem like 5POWER are under any pressure at all. They're playing very individualistic. They're roaming across the map. They're taking the 1v1 fights, and they're winning all of them. And they're up 7-0 now.
It is literally just a snowball at this point. 5POWER just starting to gain as much momentum as what you would possibly expect them to do. I mean, again, we do stress D13 coming into this a bit of an unknown entity. Well, not exactly unknown, but they are a less gelled team, we'll say, than 5POWER. And yep. On that T side, 5POWER, you would just expect them to start to steamroll, which is exactly what they're doing. I mean, D13, they do have some nice individual players, but unfortunately none of them are being allowed to shine right now. Everywhere that D13 try to push or try to step up to, you know, they just can't. 5POWER just have too much power.
Well, this is a bit better from D13. So they're going to start to push in, but Xiaostei just managed to find himself a sneaking angle outside of that Molotov. And he's going to bide his time, wait for the perfect time, and Tamir now is dead. Again, the opening frag goes the way of 5POWER. And I got to be honest, I don't remember a single round so far in this half that D13 have actually opened up the account. It's always been 5POWER that have started off. They've essentially been playing 4v5 or 3v5 in some cases, which you can see here, for the majority of the rounds. You need 40 seconds in, and it's already
and just basically saying here, D13, like, you can take all of this. Something's better than nothing, right? They do find a kill with UMP, a bit of money, but the problem for D13 right now is just the economy, the bank, the reserve that 5POWER are gaining. It's just too much. I don't know whether D13 are going to have enough to throw at them to actually be able to grab these rounds back that they've lost.
Yeah, well, that is the difficulty of the CT side every now and then, isn't it? Especially when you're down 8-0, which they are at this point. At least in this round, it does look like they might be able to save a couple of the guns through, though 5POWER are on the hunt. Can't quite hear how much the bomb has ticked away, but I do think that 5POWER are going to get 1 or 2 kills here, and there's the first Cabal. We'll find one onto Temco, and not too many hiding places left on this B bomb site now. Rate is going to have to fight for his survival, fight for his life, and eventually he will drop as well. All 3 guns taken away. Great stuff from 5POWER, and that, again, absolutely cooks the economy of D13. If they would have taken those 3 guns through, they would have had a really good buy this round. But they haven't, and now they're going to have a really bad buy.
So this is interesting for me. 5POWER are just consistently upping the pressure, upping the where they've actually just gone slow. Just going for picks. They're literally every round they're hunting to find these frags, these early round frags, and they're being given them. D13 are just walking into them almost every single time, whether that's because of the skilled prowess that 5POWER have. I mean, that's still yet, it's not really still yet to be seen. It is true. They're just consistently winning their aim duels. 1v1s are constantly going the way of 5POWER, and they're punishing any small mistake that D13 are making.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't question the fact that 5POWER come into this matchup with a firepower advantage. But you at least wanted to see something from D13 where they might give you a chance or hope that they can challenge. Look at this controller banana right now. D13, they have floated that extra player over to the A bomb site, but all they have is Temka on the B bomb site. He's not in banana. The A players aren't doing anything right now either. Rotation coming across from World. But look at all the utilities still available for 5POWER here. They're going to smoke off CT, they're going to throw some Molotovs in, smoke off coils. They're just going to walk into the B bomb site. Yeah, it's going to be shortly contested, but he just walks straight through a smoke. Tamakwal will be taken down. No chance for him at all in this round. And now it is going to be a retake. They're just going to pick him off. No chance for D13 in this round. And like you were just touching on, the fact that they had 4 players across towards A, and they weren't making any moves, they weren't taking any kind of space. I mean, yes, it's okay to play the 1 player on B, but you have to be able to give and take. You can't just allow the Ts to take, because that's what happens. I think I mean, yeah, it's fine to have a solo player on B, but in that case, you need to have some control of banana before you leave that guy on his own. Because if you're soloing the B bomb site in the actual site itself, worst case scenario, you're going to be traded. Best case scenario for the Ts is that you're just going to be outside the site, which is exactly what we saw there for Temka, where he was smoked off and they walked in. So they need to be setting him up in banana, or they need to be at least setting him up on the angle from CT into banana so that he can get some information a little bit earlier than when 5POWER are literally already in the site. Because by that stage, it's too late. D13, you saw how they came across on the rotation and just got absolutely wrecked by the AWP of QKA. But for 5POWER, it's a dream run so far. Easy for them. is being made easy for them. D13 are not doing a whole lot on this CT side, and 5POWER are just absolutely abusing them.
And that's exactly what you want to see from 5POWER. This is a bit more aggression, but there's no utility to supplement it. Yes,
yep.
There's one smoke. I understand that the Molotov's there, but why is that Molotov so late to come down Banana there? It's just being punished every single time. And look at this angle from Dobu. It doesn't matter whether World finds that kill on the Cabal or not. He's already holding that angle, and you can see it's Shinobi who's already made his way across towards B, but too little, too late.
Yeah.
His two teammates are down.
Not even 20 seconds in the round. Only 2 players left for Devil 13. Like, it just can't get any worse, and it doesn't seem like it can get any better for D13 right now. Like, you could see what they were trying to do there. Oh. The thing is, like, again, you know, it just gets worse and worse, doesn't it, as you continue to watch. But the thing is, like, for D13 right now, like, I can see what they're trying to do. They're kind of recognizing that they're not taking map control. So they're like, okay, we need to try and take control of Banana. Let's try and do that with some utility next time. Let's try and do that with multiple players next time. They need to kind of keep adding these things. So in that last round, it was just an aim battle. There was very, very minor utility, barely worth mentioning. So next time they do it, when they have guns, when they have some utility, we want to see the smoke down to the bottom of Banana. We want to see the double Molotovs to kind of carpet the Banana. And then we want to see some HE nades followed up, and then the player can peek. And then for D13, maybe things are going to go a little bit better than what they did there. But right now, it's absolutely... it's cooked right now. Like, they can't do anything. And again, they're going to force into the round, but they don't have utility. And on the CT side of Inferno, the utility is so, so key. If this was Mirage, if this was Dust 2, you could be like, okay, maybe you can make it work. But on Inferno, I don't give them much of a chance here. I think we're up to 11-0.
You can definitely cheat a little bit sometimes on those kind of maps, but when it comes to, like you're saying, Inferno, especially when you're not winning Angels, you have to be able to supplement that. You have to be able to make it work, but it's not seeming like anything D13 are kind of doing. But again, they're just shutting their own options off at this point. It's just making life extremely hard for them. No Banana control. There's no kind of mid control. They are getting a little bit aggressive with World, but again, there's no utility to trade back and forth. Like, the second 5POWER start to drop utility, it's just going to completely diminish any chance that D13 has of holding this. Right now, they've only got a flash, a smoke, and a Molotov to hold everything off from, and that's going to be Cabal and Dobu both finding the entries. Temakawa will have an angle, finds the first and the second as well, putting in work. Might even be able to find a third, but not to be. At least Shinobi will find the trade across towards B, but again, is it too little too late for Devil?
I think it is, yeah, and you can see already that QKA has posted himself up on the angle, very, very well aware, and Shinobi will go down. So we've got an MVP bit of music. That's exciting, always something new. 11-0 though for 5POWER. Yeah, it's raining. I'm sure everyone on stream can hear that right now. Tin roof.
That is intense. That is coming down right now. Yep. Like 5POWER are on D13. Not only the utility, but the bullets are just raining upon 5POWER. They're just looking hot right now. I mean, the problem for me is kind of what happens when 5POWER come up against a team that they know can use utility and know can win these aim battles. Will they have the same kind of confidence? Will they be able to even put on anything like this performance? I think 5POWER just have to enjoy this while it's here. Just take every moment and make it last.
For 5POWER, it's one of their easier matchups. This competition as the top team from Mongolia, but you look across the teams that are in this competition and the teams that actually tried to qualify for this from Mongolia, and there's a lot of big names that are actually missing from that region. So for D13, I don't think that they're necessarily the best team from that region, and they are probably one of the weaker teams in these Asia finals. So for 5POWER, I think the going does get tougher. So they need to, like you say, enjoy this, get this one over and done with, try and build up as much as they can, and then they can sort everything out from there.
Oh my word. I just thought the Temakawa maybe had done enough, but Shurify says, no, thank you. You're not going to have any further impact. The bomb goes down for safe, so it is planted for an opportunity for D13 to isolate these players like that's just happened, but Shurify swings onto Shinobi. It doesn't matter. Tamir's there for the quick trade, and at least they grab one round.
Finally around. Look, 1 round is better than none, and it could potentially turn into 4 here, which would be best case scenario for D13. Even though they can get to 4, like even if they do get to 4, I still obviously think that's not quite nearly enough. And 5POWER might just as easily strike back straight away here and
just reset
turn
them.
it into a, like a 14-1 kind of a half or something like that. The reset would just be absolutely shocking. It would be a double eco at this point for D13, which obviously you can't afford. This. Yeah, okay. Slips away. Definitely not the end.
No dream.
Yeah, the dream's dead, but it's all right.
Dream's dead, but still 16-1 looks pretty decent on your first match. So
Yep.
the thing that kind of concerns me for D13 is there doesn't seem to be any structure being thrown into what they've been able to achieve so far. Like the one round has come off the back of 4 separate force buys back to back. And Dobu already making light work of Rate. A nice shot, all things are considered. Diggity, one man that was holding, does try to swing back for a bit of support towards site, isn't allowed to. And now, so this is something that we finally are starting to see, is Tamir getting a little bit more aggressive towards Banana and at least getting the information. He's not playing on site, so they can cheat those 3 players over. It's just a little bit harder, of course, with a 4 versus 5, especially when World is the only player who can actually see apartments at this point, and that's going to be the problem. Tamir swings wide with no information and does get punished. Chudapai, again, just making light work of this A defense, and D13 is split right now, and it's just been the story of the half so far.
Yeah, again, just that individualistic play from 5POWER. I mean, I say individualistic. There is obviously that team aspect to it where they're trying to sort of fake over toward the B side or cause the rotation or cause a push over on the A side that sets things up for the players. But really, when you look at it, the players are just on their own. They're finding a frag. And that's working fantastically for 5POWER right now. D13, like I said, they get reset. It's a double eco at this point, but they have to force buy into these rounds. There's only 2 left in the half. It'll be probably 14-1 at this point by the looks of things.
Yeah, it definitely. The problem with being reset in that situation is you either save for SMGs in the next round or you just force the pistols in both. You don't really have an opportunity to get a decent buy. So with that, you will just see pistols onto D13. Just 2 Deagles. Hello. And goodbye. At least they find one frag. Tamir is given be a lucky shot, maybe a bit of an off push, but KA will make short work. And Chudapai again tapping onto the head of World. It's going to be QKA to hold down this banana position. He's got 2 to deal with. He finds the first, flicks nicely, but the trade is prompt from Rate. We'll be able to pick up that AWP as well, so maybe an opportunity to hold on to this so far. But it just doesn't seem as though D13 are going to be, already being caught out over towards second mid. It's not punished, but still with one player hot on his table, it's Cabal that's just pushed straight out of apartments. Oh, he does find the dink. Okay, that might change things up a little bit more, but Rate is still so slow to come out. It doesn't make a difference. Temkawau has already found 2, and now given his teammate something to work with.
It's a 1v1. It's definitely more winnable than what D13 would have thought at the start of this map, but Chudapai, he had an opportunity to actually get that bomb, jump down on the site, plant it, but he's going to take the quote-unquote safer route and try and play this one a little bit out with the time, but has actually put himself in a bit more of a precarious position now because Rate, he can cover off that bomb with the AWP here. It really just comes down to timing, what Chudapai can do coming around the back here, and it does look like he might just find a free kill, or not.
Rate, hello?
Well, I think really you got to put that on to Chudapai because he missed a lot of shots, to be fair.
Of course, that is...
But it was a good shot from Rate. Yep.
What?
Well,
Chudapai, that's not... Yeah, you can't forgive that. It's not even like he was looking at him.
That'll allow a buy through for D13. Admittedly, not a great one, but better than nothing, which is probably what they should have had at this point. Still, let's see what they are going to manage to make happen. A couple of grenades into Banana.
QKA.
He just peeks right out into QKA. I don't think he's actually won an aim battle when it's the AWPs are concerned, so I think he might be better off just playing a little bit more of a passive kind of a style. Obviously, it's too late to adapt now, but would have been potentially the strat.
Yeah, the adapt to survive could have come in a little bit earlier. Rate's going to let him know that he is there. Unfortunately, does get punished. Temkawau, however, trades straight back on towards Cabal, but it is going to be the pinch on towards that A-bomb site. They're going to be coming straight down. Diggity now pushing aggressively, but it's going to be Temkawau that holds it down with the FAMAS. 2 kills in quick succession, pulls out the USB, chases down QKA and gives him no opportunity to take a shot. Now, the last round of the half looks like D13 might have been able to secure a bit of a lifeline. I mean, this is really stretching it with the imagination, but you are giving yourself somewhat of a chance when you bring these last 2 rounds back. And 5POWER, they have kind of let them do that. Wow holds that with a FAMAS and finds 3 and the 4th with a USP. So it is pretty much all down to the one sole member of 5POWER to shut this down for D13. If he shuts this down here, there's absolutely nothing. That would just reset not only the momentum, but it would just throw a spanner in the works. So now they're given somewhat of a chance. D13, they pick up the last 2 rounds of the half, and look at that. The only 3 rounds they get are in the last 4 rounds of the half.
You want to find that silver lining. You want to give them the chance. I don't know if they've got that just yet. Look, to be honest, 3 rounds. Of course, it's better than 15-0, but it's really not enough to play with in the second half. If this pistol round goes the way of 5POWER, it's done. Yep. It's game over for D13. And even if they do get the pistol round, now with this new economy, I mean, 5POWER could potentially just force into the second round, save, or even, and then get a really good buy in the third. So it's not like the pistol round is going to give you that much of a leeway as D13 here. So they're going to need to have a phenomenal T side, and I just don't see it happening against 5POWER in the form that they are in. To be fair, they did kind of let things slip a little bit toward the end there, but I think they kind of were at the point where they're thinking, you know what, we've done enough. Let's just have a bit of fun in this and see what happens. It's not going to make too much of a difference. And QK8, very, very sharp to start things off. With that USP, takes the head off Tamir. Now it's 12-3, starting to look even more likely to 13. Ooh. But a couple of kills do go the way of D13, so hold the press. Let's not get too excited just yet. The rotation going over to B.
Yeah, so World's just going to go across and just secure that. Of course, it's going to be Cabal that's going to be met with that kind of aggression that he's putting through towards Con. He's not going to know, but that doesn't really make a difference at this point. They've got the bomb site, the smoke's down, and they can go aggressive towards Con and try and take that early frag. But Cabal is the first to fire off in a second, as well as Rate tries to cover himself towards Dark. Doesn't happen. Shinobi has to drop down towards Barbecue. He does have the support of Wow, but still holding the line. He will be pushed aggressively. The trade comes through. Wow can only find 1. He's got a lot of work to do right now, and Dobu says, no, sirree, you shall not pass.
Yeah.
And I was just about to start telling the story that, you know, D13, maybe they're better on T side. Maybe they're better as individuals to try and find these frags rather than having to hold a full push. However, it doesn't seem to be the case here, Jordan.
Just when that firepower is required from 5POWER, it does step up. Cabal with 2, and then Dobu as well with 2. Even if Dobu did get traded out there, he was going to allow the trade for Strider Pyre coming up right behind him with the CZ. Should have been pretty straightforward indeed. 13-3 now for 5POWER, and it does look like our first map here at Extremesland CSGO Asia 2018 Finals is probably going to be a pretty quick one, as was expected. But this is very quick indeed. Now what D13 have done here is they've saved full onto, I think, Shinobi in that last round, and that allows you to get an AK buy in the second if you do lose the round. So Raid does have that with a bit of armor, so he's the Raid boss, needs to be having the impact, and has so far, but Cabal through the smoke, able to spam down World. Oh no! Absolutely destroyed.
Just catch that.
Like, what are you going to do? He's in a smoke, and he's just predicted.
Even the chicken's BMing him. The chicken was giving him that bad mana boy.
The teabag from the chicken.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you...
Be worse?
No, I really don't think there's anything worse than getting BM'd by a chicken on D Inferno after you've just taken a nade.
Cop the nade.
Don't think there's anything worse, but now it's D13 that will be licking their wounds across towards B. They still do have the superhero AK, the head armor, and the AK accompanied with an MP9 and a Deagle. They do have a Molotov to work with, so maybe they might be able to flush one of the 5POWER players out of position, or at least have an angle that doesn't need to be checked, but still, it is going to be one of those cases where it's kind of like, how much can we sell here? What possibly can D13 take away from this? They need to be able to drop at the very least a couple of weapons here, and it looks as though, oh wow. Okay, so Cabal has only just bopped his head back down, but Dobu holding the angle, goes aggressive, finds 1, 2, makes short work of the push, and Cabal will come in to steal the 3K, but nicely done from 5POWER there. Yeah,
very nicely done. I thought for a moment that D13 had got enough control or enough positioning up onto the bomb site to give them a chance. If that AK can just pop the head of Cabal, maybe they can make something happen. But in the end, the timing works in the favor of 5POWER. Dobu, like you said, shutting that one down with the backup of Cabal. 14-3 is up. Another poor buy through from D13. At this point, we're just going to see them force as much as they can every single time. And for 5POWER, well, things are progressing along exactly as they would have liked it to.
Yeah, just so aggressive. Look at them. Like, they're already down towards Mexico. Not just that, they were in mid, but Rate will find the trade. Well, it's not even a trade. He finds 2 to open up the round. And 5POWER now with 2 players down. You still favour them in this situation because the trade comes through promptly. The smoke comes out to give them a bit of cover. They do go a little bit aggressive. They will be punished for it as well through the smoke. Temka, wow.
Look at the damage there as well. All of them down, almost below half HP. Nice shot onto Dobu, though, from Rate. And the Molotov isn't going to be doing too much damage. It's all going to be onto Cabal here, but he's already showed us on that CT side he does look pretty stable. There's a chance again for D13 to prolong this a little bit longer. Cabal, however, trying to shut it down. Tamir has dropped early on in the piece. There's no trade, and it's allowed the rotation to come across from Xiao Sage. Now things are looking so bad for D13. Inevitably, Shinobi does get Cabal, but into a 1v1. He doesn't have an AK. He's got a CZ. He's found himself an M4. He's got time to work with, so now he can potentially go back over to that B-bomb site.
I mean, Xiao Zhe there, you know, just pushes them back. Nicely done to kind of just at least meet fire with fire, but D13, they limit their options completely there. All 3 players look to come out of apartments, and I mean, if Cabal is actually in a better position there to take that fight, like if he's across towards Pit, he's basically just got free pickings, and that's just going to be the round done and dusted. Shinobi does try to make a bit of a superhuman play, find the 1v1, but it's not going to happen. And now it is match point for 5POWER, and this is where things get a little bit hairy for D13.
Oh, well, I don't know. I feel like things have been a bit hairy for pretty much the entire map. But you're exactly right. D13, it's do or die now for them, and basically it really seems like die at this point because there hasn't been too much doing as far as Devil 13 is concerned. 5POWER have been the ones dictating this entire game. It's been too easy for them. 15-3, and really the rounds that 5POWER have lost have kind of just looked like ones where they just, I don't know, felt a little bit overeager or kind of let things slip a little bit. Wasn't so much D13 doing anything particularly exciting that has got them the rounds here. But look, anyway, 5POWER is a team that we expect to have a good chance in this entire tournament to at least do damage. I mean, when you look at all the teams in here, I'd probably be saying MVP should be the one to take it away. But 5POWER, they're an outside chance. They're a dark horse. So they're definitely a little bit higher up the stakes as far as I'm concerned than what D13 are. Yeah,
you'd have to say that they're like, you know, at this point they're kind of in that 5th, 6th area. Like, if you just look at the teams purely and rawly, they're probably going to come 5th if everything goes the way you expect it to. But of course, it never does it? It's kind of, it's always fun.
Well, it depends how the brackets do end up and who versus who at what time and that kind of thing. But you're right, it's probably sitting around middle of the pack or high middle of the pack at least, I should say. Going to knock over D13 fairly easily, I think, by the looks of things here, as it is 4v3 in what could now be the final round. A lot of control down in the bottom of middle, as Cabal has pushed out through Banana. Into the site, though, does go D13. If these 2 defenders don't get a whole lot done, then there could be problems, and Rate does take the head of Schwaderpie, but timing is very nice for Cabal, and he's going to shut things down. 16-3 is the scoreline in the first map.